Returning to Cleveland, very emotional return. I can imagine that being emotional. Number one, just being back at the crib, but all he's done for the city of Cleveland, bringing the championship to the city. You know, they play those highlights. I think for Bron, like, what is it, one more game in Cleveland maybe? But you just start really counting the days, right? Like, man, I don't know how many more I have in this building.
The end of an era in Golden State. One day, you're a four-time champion, a cornerstone of a dynasty that defined an entire decade of basketball dominance. And the next day, you're watching the organization you helped build from the ground up treat your name like a bargaining chip on a poker table. That's exactly what happened to Draymond Green. And honestly, if you had told anyone, even just a few months ago, that the Golden State Warriors would actually go through with placing their emotional leader on the trade block, most people would have laughed in your face. But here we are. The basketball world has been absolutely shaken to its core. The Golden State Warriors have officially placed Draymond Green in trade talks, and his legendary 14-year run with the only professional organization he's ever known is now hanging by a thread so thin you could cut it with a whisper. This isn't some small market team parting ways with a role player. This is the Golden State Warriors. This is Draymond Green. This is a man who helped bring 4 championship banners to the Bay Area. A man who changed the very definition of what a modern power forward could be in professional basketball. But before we get into how LeBron James and Anthony Davis have responded to this seismic shift in the NBA landscape, we need to understand exactly how we got here, because this story didn't start yesterday. This story has been building for years, and the way it's unfolding right now is nothing short of dramatic. Reports from ESPN and The Athletic have confirmed that Green's name has been floating around in what they're calling active trade conversations as the February 5th, 2026 trade deadline rapidly approaches. Now, the important thing to understand here is that this isn't about the Warriors wanting to get rid of Draymond because they don't appreciate what he's done for the franchise. Far from it. This is about one thing, and one thing only. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Milwaukee Bucks superstar, has become the ultimate prize in this trade deadline frenzy, and Golden State is doing everything in their power to position themselves as a legitimate landing spot for the Greek Freak. And that's where Draymond comes in. See, when you're trying to acquire a player of Giannis's caliber, you need to match salaries. You need big contracts that can make the math work. Draymond Green holds a $25 million cap hit with a $27 million player option for the following season. That's the kind of salary that makes trades for superstars possible. That's the kind of number that gets your foot in the door of conversations that most franchises can only dream about having. But here's the thing that makes this whole situation so emotionally complicated. Draymond Green isn't just a contract. He isn't just a number on a salary cap sheet. He's the heart and soul of everything Golden State. That's a man who's been around long enough to know that loyalty, as beautiful as it sounds in press conferences and retirement speeches, takes a backseat when a championship opportunity presents itself.
Richard Jefferson.
The Warriors are clearly willing to explore any avenue that might give them another shot at a title, with Steph Curry still performing at an elite level. And speaking of that potential move, Draymond had even more to say about what it would mean if his 14-year journey with the Warriors actually came to an end. If you would have told me 13 and 12 years ago, like, yo, I'ma hand you this sheet of paper and you can sign it to be in a place for 13 and 12 years, would you sign it? And I would have signed it faster than you can blink. So what do I have to sit and worry about? What do I have to, be upset about? Like, I've been here for 13 and 12 years. That's longer than probably 98% of NBA players have been in one place. And this guy from Saginaw has been in a place for 13 and a half years. I don't know that it ends at 13 and a half. But if it does, what a effing run it's been. I'll take the fine for it. What a effing run it's been. There's something profoundly powerful about watching a man face the potential end of everything he's known professionally and respond with gratitude instead of bitterness. Draymond Green could easily be upset.
He could be frustrated that the organization is willing to move him after everything he's contributed. But instead, he's choosing to focus on how blessed he's been to experience what most NBA players never get close to experiencing. Now, the question that everyone in the basketball world has been asking since these trade rumors started heating up is simple. Where would Draymond Green actually land if the Warriors do pull the trigger on a deal? And while there are several teams that could theoretically be interested in a player of Draymond's caliber and experience, one destination has consistently risen to the top of every conversation: the Los Angeles Lakers. The connection between Draymond Green and the Lakers isn't some random speculation that reporters pulled out of thin air. This is a relationship that has been building for years, rooted in genuine friendships, shared business ventures, and a mutual respect that transcends the typical rivalry between Western Conference competitors. The Lakers have been linked to Draymond Green for years, and with every passing day that these trade talks continue, the possibility of him actually donning the purple and gold becomes more and more real. The LeBron connection and Olympic brotherhood. Now, if you want to understand why the Los Angeles Lakers make so much sense as a potential destination for Draymond Green, you have to understand the relationship between Draymond and the most influential player in Lakers franchise history since Kobe Bryant. We're talking about LeBron James. And this isn't just some casual acquaintance between two guys who happen to play against each other a few times. This is a genuine, deep, meaningful friendship that has evolved from one of the most intense rivalries the NBA has ever seen. Think about it. LeBron James and Draymond Green faced each other in 4 consecutive NBA Finals from 2015 to
Draymond Green on the 2024 Paris Olympics Team USA roster. When LeBron decided he wanted to represent his country one more time, he didn't just show up and wait to see who else would be there. He actively recruited the players he wanted by his side. He reached out to Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, Anthony "Music" Davis, Jason Tatum, and yes, Draymond Green. LeBron was trying to assemble what many were calling Redeem Team 2.0 after the United States had a disappointing showing at the 2023 FIBA World Cup. He wanted the best of the best. He wanted players he could trust in pressure situations, and Draymond Green was absolutely on that list. Unfortunately, things didn't work out the way LeBron had hoped. Draymond was excluded from USA Basketball's 41 music player pool for the 2024 Paris Olympics, and the reason was directly tied to his on-court incidents during the 2023-24 NBA season. Those suspensions, including the 5-game ban for putting Rudy Gobert in a headlock and the indefinite suspension that was later reduced to 12 games for striking Jusuf Nurkic, made it impossible for USA Basketball to justify his inclusion. USA Basketball Executive Director Grant Hill explained the decision, emphasizing that the organization wanted what was best for Draymond and felt he needed to address some personal challenges. Draymond, for his part, was understandably hurt by the snub, especially after having conversations with Hill that made him feel like he was going to be part of the team. Draymond publicly expressed his disappointment. "If I'm not good enough, just say that." Frustration was palpable. Here's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist being told he's not welcome at the event he's dominated in the past. But ultimately, Draymond accepted the decision and chose to root for his friends and former rivals from afar. Now, what's fascinating about this whole situation is that even though LeBron and Draymond didn't get to share the Olympic court together in 2024, their bond only seemed to grow stronger. After Team USA won the gold medal in Paris, LeBron and Draymond were spotted vacationing together in Cannes, France. They were seen living it up at Le Guéret Beach Club, dancing and celebrating, looking for all the world like two brothers who had just achieved something special together. That image of LeBron James and Draymond Green dancing on a beach in the south of France tells you everything you need to know about where this relationship is right now. These aren't just professional acquaintances being polite for the cameras. These are genuine friends who enjoy each other's company, who share similar interests and business ventures, and who clearly have a deep mutual affection that transcends basketball. Speaking of shared interests, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Draymond Green are already teammates in at least one capacity. All three are investors in Tequila Lobos 1707, a Mexican tequila brand that launched in the United States back in 2020. So when people talk about these three potentially joining forces on the basketball court, they're not talking about strangers learning to coexist. They're talking about business partners who already have experience working together toward common goals. And we can't forget that all three of these players share the same agency representation through Clutch Sports Group, which is run by Rich Paul. That connection isn't just a footnote in this story, it's a significant thread that ties all of these relationships together. When your agent is the same person, conversations happen more freely, information flows more naturally, and the logistics of potential moves become that much easier to navigate. The chemistry between LeBron and Draymond has been evident for years, even when they were on opposite sides of some of the most competitive series in NBA history. LeBron has been recruiting stars throughout his career, and Draymond's name has consistently come up as someone he'd love to have by his side. The 2024 Olympics, even without Draymond on the roster, only intensified.
That performance at that age only reinforced Draymond's admiration for what LeBron brings to the table night after night. So when you combine all of these factors together, the friendship, the mutual respect, the shared business ventures, the common agency representation, and the genuine desire to play together, it becomes crystal clear why a Draymond Green trade to the Lakers isn't just plausible, it feels almost inevitable. Anthony Davis and the defensive dream team. Now, while LeBron James and Draymond Green have the longer history and the more publicized friendship, there's another Lakers superstar whose reaction to this potential trade matters just as much, if not more, when you consider the on-court implications. We're talking about Anthony Davis, and the relationship between AD and Draymond is one of the most fascinating dynamics in the entire NBA. These two have been going to war against each other for over a decade. They faced off 47 times total, including 31 regular season games and 15 playoff contests. Draymond holds a 33-4 winning record over Anthony Davis, including a 10-5 advantage in the postseason. Those numbers tell you something important. When these two clash, the stakes are always high, and Draymond's teams usually come out on top. But what makes this rivalry so compelling isn't just the win-loss record, it's the way these two compete against each other. Since the 2017-18 season, Draymond has guarded Anthony Davis on over 600 half-court possessions, restricting him to 1.11 points per shot, compared to AD's career average of 1.34. That's elite defensive impact against one of the most unstoppable offensive forces in the league. During the 2018 Western Conference semifinals, when Davis was still with the New Orleans Pelicans, Draymond held him to 44.3% field goal shooting as Golden State cruised to a 4-1 series victory. And their most recent playoff battle in the 2023 Western Conference semifinals was equally physical and intense, with Draymond making AD work for every single bucket he managed to get. But here's the thing that separates true competitors from bitter rivals. Despite all those battles, despite all that physical play and competitive intensity, Anthony Davis and Draymond Green have developed a genuine friendship off the court. You could see it during their interactions after games, where the trash talk gives way to hugs and genuine respect. You could see it in the way they speak about each other in interviews, always acknowledging the other's greatness, even while talking about how difficult they are to play against. One of the most telling moments came when Draymond actually interrupted Anthony Davis's post-game interview after a Lakers victory, just to show love and acknowledge what AD had accomplished on the court that night.
They didn't have an answer for you tonight. Just what was working with your game tonight?
It's being aggressive. Anthony, obviously without that guy right there, that does make it easy, was the defensive specialist, roaming around, causing havoc. We knew that kind of, hurt him a little bit defensively, but we're just moving the basketball, sharing the basketball, getting the ball in, everyone's sweet spots and just making shots.
Notice how Anthony Davis immediately acknowledged Draymond's defensive impact, even while celebrating his own team's victory. He didn't have to do that. He could have just talked about himself and his teammates, but instead, he went out of his way to recognize what Draymond brings to the table. That's the kind of mutual respect that could translate beautifully if these two ever ended up on the same roster. And speaking of what they could potentially accomplish together, Draymond has been incredibly complimentary of Anthony Davis's game throughout the years.
AD is tough, man. AD one of those guys. It's funny because when AD first came into the league, AD averaged 20 points with no sets ran for him. And so he's one of those guys that he can just get it within the flow. You don't even have to feature him. He's still going to be getting it. Obviously, they feature him quite a ton. And, AD is, he can put the ball on the floor, his post game.
But Draymond didn't stop there. He continued explaining exactly why AD presents such unique challenges for any defender in the league. Most guys, you're either too slow and he's put you in space, or you're too small and he puts you down on the block. Obviously, we know what he's capable of defensively as well. I wish I would be out there for that game. You always love playing against the greats, B, because man, like, just when you get to have an opportunity to play against the AD or play against LeBron, like, those caliber of guys, they bring the best out of you because you're going to go out there. You're going to get embarrassed. That right there is the competitive spirit that has defined Draymond Green's entire career. He genuinely relishes the opportunity to compete against the best players in the world. He doesn't shy away from those matchups. He runs toward them. And the fact that he mentioned both AD and LeBron in the same breath as players who bring out the best in him speaks volumes about how he views the potential opportunity to join forces with them. Now, imagine what it would look like if Draymond Green and Anthony Davis were actually on the same side. Instead of trying to contain AD's offensive brilliance, Draymond would be complementing it. Instead of battling for rebounds against each other, they'd be crashing the glass together. Instead of trying to exploit each other's weaknesses, they'd be covering for each other's blind spots. Analysts have noted that Draymond's elite passing ability, currently averaging around 5.3 assists per game, would take tremendous pressure off Anthony Davis. AD wouldn't have to create for himself as much because he'd have a playmaking forward who could find him in his sweet spots. And defensively, the combination of Draymond's perimeter versatility and help defense alongside AD's rim protection and shot blocking would create one of the most formidable defensive frontcourts the league has seen in years. Davis has averaged 22.9 points, 11.4 rebounds, and 2.4 assists in his 31 regular season games against Draymond, but those numbers have dipped in recent matchups, suggesting that Green's defensive attention has had a cumulative effect on AD's performance. Now imagine that defensive intensity being directed at opponents instead of at each other. The potential chemistry isn't just theoretical either. Both players have championship experience. Both understand what it takes to win at the highest level, and both have shown they can put ego aside for the greater good of the team. That combination of experience, intelligence, and selflessness is incredibly rare in professional basketball. And let's not forget about the relationship with LeBron that ties all of this together. Anthony Davis has been running the two-man game with LeBron for 6 seasons now, and Steph Curry himself acknowledged during the Olympics that the LeBron-Davis connection is a problem for opposing teams. Adding Draymond to that equation wouldn't disrupt what's already working, it would enhance it. Draymond could orchestrate the offense from the high post, create mismatches, and find both LeBron and AD in their preferred spots. As of right now, no official trade has been announced, and Draymond Green remains a member of the Golden State Warriors as the February 5th trade deadline approaches. But the foundation has been laid, the relationships are in place, the basketball fit makes sense, and most importantly, all three players, LeBron, AD, and Draymond, seem genuinely open to the possibility of making this work. Draymond himself put it best when reflecting on his legendary run with Golden State. "I'm blessed, I'm lucky. I'm grateful. Like I said, it's my family has not had to move anywhere since I started my family. That's incredible. I don't take that for granted. It's guys that have been on the move every year, moving their family 2-3 times in a year. So I have so much gratitude for where I am in my career, the run that I've been on here. And like I said, I don't know that it ends or whatnot." Whether Draymond Green ends up in purple and gold or finishes his career in blue and gold, one thing is absolutely certain. The basketball world will be watching closely. Because when you're talking about a potential super team featuring LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Draymond Green, you're talking about the kind of story that transcends regular season records and playoff seedings. You're talking about legacy, you're talking about brotherhood, and you're talking about the possibility of one final championship run that could cement all three of these players even further into basketball immortality. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.